Welcome. That was quick.
Started?
We're gonna get started here
Yeah.
with Pokemon Snap.
Oh,
This will be a quick one, both because the game has an estimate of 27 minutes, a bit
わかり
less
まし
than
た。
the Final Fantasy set that we saw earlier, but
はい。
also because we've got a quick
皆
runner
さん、
here.
よく来た
aKaFuKu
の
is one of the
ポ
best
ケモン
and
スナップ
definitely
の
the
時間
best
が始
when
ま
it
りまし
comes
た。
to our Japanese runners.
すいませ
They're
ん、
so
私
good.
はちょっ
In
と
this
今
game,
日
if
突然
you
攻撃
have a
が出
time
て、緊急
under
参加ができ
21
るんで
minutes,
すけれども、
they start
オンライン
recording
の
you
方で
by
参加させていただきま
milliseconds.
す。
This is
簡単にプレイヤー紹介ですけ
aKaFuKu,
ど、
who is part of that
過
millisecond
去
club.
2回
That's how
RTA
tight it is
ポケ
to
モン
the
スナッ
top
プの
of the
解説をしてた
Pokemon
方の
Snap
福井です。
boards.
よろしくお願いします。
It looks like they are sitting on the valley screen. Let's go, Quo. Uh, you're not the
解説者
you
は
have second place there,
解
Quo.
説者は前回前々
Nice rate
回
though,
でプレイ
appreciate
ヤー
it,
をしていた方の
and
福
I'm
井です。
sure
よろ
RTA
しくお
does
願いし
too.
ます。
This is gonna be a quick run of taking photos. It's our
始める
first
前
of
に一つ
two
だけ
photo
お願
taking
い
games.
事
We're
が
also
ご
gonna
ざ
be
いまし
following this
て、
with
リバーってい
Mother
うコース
2
で
after this,
パルシェンが
and
シェ
it's
ルター
gonna
が
be
出るって
pretty
いうと
quick
ころだったんです
paced.
けど、
There's a
これパル
couple
シェンで
things
す
that
ら
we need to
非常
be
にロスが
doing
出
in
てし
this
まうの
run. We need
で、
to be taking
皆さんが
pictures
タイミングが合っ
of
たら
a
コース
lot
を
of
挟んでパル
Pokemon.
シェンっ
We
て
got
呼んでいただけたら
to
と思
hit
いま
a
す。
certain number of
はい、
pictures to
さん
be
には
able
許可
to
が取れてますの
unlock
で、お願いいたします。
certain
よろしくお
levels,
願いしま
and we
す。
also need
はい。
points for our
もう始め
upgrades
て
at certain
大
levels.
丈夫ですかね。
The points are going to be very precise. These
はい、
photos that
大丈夫
the runners
で
are
す。
taking are
はい。
incredibly
では、名前は
planned out.
R にしましょうか。1文字の方が早いので1文字
Welcome
でいきます。
to
では、
the
カウン
run
トいきま
getting
す。
ready
5、
to start it.
4、
There's going to be a
3、
lot of mashing
2、1、
here.
スタート。
Let's go.
最初に3匹のポップが出てきます。この
There's
3
only two
匹をタイ
characters
ミン
in
グ
this
よく
game if
撮
you don't
影し
count
てい
the
くこ
Pokemon.
と
It's
によっ
Professor
て、
Oak and
ラッ
Todd
シュ調
Snap,
整を行うことが
and
でき
we
ま
like
す。
Professor Oak.
2匹目がディレイをかけてくることが
Our
多い
first
ので、そ
pictures
れだけ
are
気
going
を
to
つけま
be of
す。
Pidgeys. The
で、
Pidgeys at the
堂々
beginning
と
are
取ったら、
tutorial,
はい、
but
すぐに
that
砂を
Pidgey
蹴
that
り
we
ま
just
す。
took there is going to
こ
be
れ
the
は
one
所
that we
要
take
使い機
points.
で、このゲーム、ポケモンを見るこ
Pikachu
とを
didn't
一
used
つ
to be
なくし
part
て、
of the
上手くした
strategy,
ほどポケ
but
モンが
now
見え
they
ないと
figured
いう、
out a
そう
really
いう
good
ポケモン
way
ゲー
to
ムにな
line
っ
up
てい
the
ます。
Pikachu
こ
perfectly. You
こ
look
は、
at the tail
今ちょっと名前わからなかったん
and
です
then
け
you look in the
ど、
sky.
多分
If
は
you're
っきり
looking to
証明す
see
るイ
a
メージがあったと思います。
beautiful game of
段
looking
差
at
調整
Pokemon,
をし
you're
た
not
結
going to get too
果、
much of
ピカ
that
チュウとバタフリーと
because
ラ
of the
プラスの
N64 is
5キャラクター
a
が
old
います。
console
はい、
and
すべ
does
て
not
段差
handle
調整
lag
を出
well.
してくれました。
The
了解
simple
です
act of
では
looking
進
at
みます。
Pokemon,
3
while we
匹
did
のポ
get
ッ
a
プを見
Lapras
て、
photo
表
there,
示回避
is
をするこ
slow,
とができます。
causes lag, and it
皆さん
causes
も年末
the
年
whole
始の
game
お
and
参りとか
therefore
人混み多いところ
the
で、
whole run
列の
to
進
go
みを止めよう
slower.
と思ったら空見て、それを
You
直
have
視し
the
ていた
option
ら、
of
はい、
looking at
進
the
むかもしれませ
sky
んね。
or looking at the ground, and the sky
で、
is
さっ
nicer.
きダンスポケモンがピカ、バター、ラプ3匹いるという話をしまし
What
た
we're trying to
が、
do
その
here
中に
is
して
get
も、バタフリーと羽、
24,000
広げ
points
が高速
between
で
this
行われ
visit
てい
to
る
the
ので、ち
beach
ゃんと取れ
and
た
then a
と思っ
quick
ても
visit
取れ
to
て
the
ないことが
tunnel.
あって、
What
こ
that
こ
will
が
do will
この
allow us
1
to
で一番難
obtain
しいリセッ
apples,
トポイントとなっております。な
or
ので、私の
plus
タイム
fruit
を
as
使うの
they're
が心地よ
confirmed to
く
be
としていま
called
す。
in the
で、
new Pokemon
次
Snap.
の、
The
この
20-year
後の
wait
戦
for
略に
new
関してなん
Pokemon
ですけ
Snap to
ど、
come
何でも
out,
いいから早くエンディング
and
に行くっていうも
to
の
run that
で、
I personally run. It's a
そし
fantastic
て、
game in its own
ゲ
right.
ーム進行のために種類数とタイムが必要なんですけれども、
The goal is
な
going
る
to
べ
be
く
to
少ない
get
種類数
the
を取
items.
って、
You do need to
それ
visit
で
levels
最
multiple
終的に
times,
必要な点数を集めていくっ
one
てい
to
う、そういう戦
unlock
略になっています。
the next level and one to get the items. So we
で
are
も、
going to be seeing
NE%
a
はそ
couple levels
の
twice.
撮影あんまりうま
Good
くしない
Meowth,
ので、
and you
非
can
常
see
に
how
点数稼
quick
ぎが難しいと
aKaFuKu
ころにな
is
っています。
at bringing the
こ
cursor
こ今
down,
ピカ
knowing
ッとし
the
ます。
exact timing.
早い、素晴らしいで
That's
す。
a very poor Kangaskhan
こ
photo,
こ
but
で
that's on
写真選
purpose.
択に
We
もですね、
just need
注
a
目し
few
てくだ
extra
さい。
points there to
は
be
い。
able to hit
こ
that
こが
24K
日本
that I
の写
mentioned.
真、
And to get
あ、
the
これ行きた
Kangaskhan to
いん
be
で、ここ
worth
の
more
写真
points,
選択のね、
means we have to go
も
further in
う
level, and we
出来
don't
上がる
really
前の
want to
時、
be
これ
spending
す
any
べて
extra
決まっ
time in
た
the
動き
levels
で
that we have
選ん
to.
でいってます。
It
ワン
looks
ステージ
like
も同様に
the
皆さん
updated strategies only take the one Lapras. Back in the day, you used to take 2 Laprases, but I think that's why, in part, these like really good Pikachus, these really good Meows, and making sure that the Eevee is nice and centered, are all going to be important. For Pokemon photos, I don't think I've mentioned the things that we want. We want the Pokemon to be facing the camera. We want the Pokemon to be nice and big in the frame. If they can do a cool pose, we appreciate that. We should just be here for the Electrode, and aKaFuKu knows precisely how many points he needs to get for that Electrode, so has to wait until the Electrode's close enough. Previously, you'd wait till the Pikachu was on top of the Electrode, and you could take a picture of the Pikachu too. At this point, this run is so precise that they can get it down to look like 100 points more than they needed. And we're back to looking at the sky.
にリンゴをあげて喜ばしてみましょう。ここで。
So
喜んでますね。ちょっとよく見えなかった。
this is an early trick that we would need to make sure happens. We need to bonk this Electabuzz twice, and then kind of drift towards the right and make sure that we don't run into the Electabuzz, and also give us the opportunity for a good Electabuzz photo. We've done both of those things because aKaFuKu is on his game. Next should be the Kakuna. We're gonna cause the Kakuna to drop using an apple on the electrode. And these photos are just lovely. Next should be Zubat here. We know where we need to aim, and Zubat will just come into frame. I wouldn't even comment he took the photo, the Zubat there, but I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not 100% sure. The Magikarp's gonna be the next photo, but the Magikarp's not the thing that's concerning with this level. We have a gauntlet of photos that are going to be coming up. We need to be hitting 3 Diglett photos, which has a photo trigger that summons the Dugtrio. We need to at some point also get a good photo of Haunter. We need to be ready for Magnemite and Magneton, and then also a trick at the end there to be able to get out of this level. First Diglett done. Interested how we go about this. Second Diglett into Haunter. Calm as you could be. That was a mistake. The third photo didn't take. And I used to start all Diglett over. This is the exact sort of issue. You can see him just being grumpy both in the camera but also with his gameplay. We can make this work. If we face backwards, the cart does go slower, but we're not going to have as good of a Dugtrio photo. And we're literally stalling by moving the camera left and right. This is basically marathon strats. I think most of the time the runner would just restart with this sort of misfortune, but with a marathon we want to make sure that we are still completing as quickly as possible. Here we need to get 3 things done. We need to get a picture of a Magnemite, done that. We need to get the Magneton, and the Magneton can be lured by the apples. We also need to draw the Magneton towards us, so we can actually have it be facing us for the points and getting it close to us. I think he just got it there. I didn't hear the snap, but we definitely are going to be moving on to Volcano. How many points we need with a lesser Dugtrio is going to be interesting. And this is one of the skills, maybe not more recently because the runs have gotten so good at Pokemon Snap, but especially in a marathon run, you need to be able to find new photos, find extra points that you otherwise wouldn't have because we didn't get as good of a Diglett or a Dugtrio as we would have necessarily wanted. It does look like we got a really nice Magnemite and Magneton though. I'm curious here, when we move into Volcano, one of the Pokemon that comes to mind that we could take a better photo than we would otherwise would be Magmar. I'm hoping that they can show off the cool marathon strat, but I'm not sure if they're not doing the Magmar where it would be. So first off, we're going to be doing Rapidash though, and this is a very precise timing. So good. I have so much trouble doing that particular photo, but when you do as many runs and are as skilled as aKaFuKu here, you are fine. Vulpix, I think they timed that perfectly, but I think we'll see if they're going to try and lure some more Vulpix for a better photo, given we might feel like we're a bit behind.
ちなみにこのロコンなんですけど、ハイスコアアタックの取り方がかなり悪辣で、ロコンを気絶させてその上を仲間ロコンを
Welcome to everybody in chat, including you, Jose. Okay, here's usually going to be 3 photos that we need to take. There's only 2 Pokemon, but it's going to be Charmander, Magmar, and then Charmeleon. I think we messed up with the Magmar photo there too. This might be even more inspiration to go do an old school strat. Got 3 things we need to do here. No, we don't need to do the Charmander. We're going to do a better Moltres. Usually, the most recent strat has been to take the Moltres as soon as it comes out of the lava. but it looks like we're going with a more marathon strat to do both the Moltres and then also get these better Magmars, especially since we messed up the Magmar and we need more points anyways.
さてギャロップいい感じしかしおーっと人影喜んでないけどおーっとロコンいいですね
This does skip my favorite photos in the game, which are when you sit at the egg and then summon the Charmanders, and they're super cute. That is, as far as I'm concerned, not only the best photos in this Pokemon Snap, but any Pokemon Snap. There's only been 2 of them, but okay, 4650 for the Magmar. I think that's a decent improvement. And in addition to the upgraded Moltres, I think we've covered a lot of the issues that we've had. This is a cute little strat here, and I should have mentioned it while we were going into it. We just need literally any points, and the Poliwag, believe in only one version, I'm going to say the Japanese version, is seeable. The game considers it visible even through all the grass and the weeds, and by just simply getting a photo, and then exiting the level, we're then able to re-enter the level, but we were given the extra item that we need, the Pester Balls, which we will be using both to, importantly, get out of the level, but also just to get better photos, similar to what we've been doing with the so-called apples. Luring in this game is an art form, and God, is aKaFuKu an artist. That Bulbasaur, I don't think we actually think that was perfect. I think he could do better, but it just looks so good. It's so impressive if you do or don't know what you're doing when it comes to this game. Here we're aiming at the sky, which is nice because we like aiming at the sky. Not looking at Pokemon's good, but it's also just a bit of a setup to make sure that we're throwing apples in the right area. We're also listing on this level for Cloisters. Cloister is the biggest issue in this game. If Cloister shows up, we are really happy. It is extra points, but more importantly, it's an additional Pokemon that we want to have so we don't have to go deep into the cave level for a Jinx or, God forbid, like an Articuno or something. Cloister usually shows up at the end of the level, but it's something that you are always listening for. If he is going to show up at all, it's very much an RNG. Metapod's going to be one of the easiest photos in this game. Thank you to Pokemon that don't move. I have not seen that side up before. That was really cool. Yeah, claps in the background for the photo, as they should. Okay, Cloister, Cloister, Cloister! Okay, we got last chance. That's a Shelter. We're out of here. If this was a run, he's looking for world record. This would be a reset spot, and we didn't get the Cloister. We only saw those stinky Shelters. But I think aKaFuKu knows he's been practicing for this sort of run. And we're still getting through the river here with still only 12 minutes of the estimate. We are going to be revisiting these levels. If you haven't played this game before, there's a cool, like, hidden aspect to each of the levels. And we'll get to see more. These photos are so good. The Slowpoke there, maybe not as much, but they're just so well centered every time. And he's taking them really quickly and then going back to looking at the sky. Okay, Cave, in my mind, is the hardest level. Not necessarily speedrun, just but in the game. It probably is Valley at the end of the day. The levels are kind of ordered in how much of a challenge they are in a casual playthrough. There are going to be a lot of these like long apple throws, long pester balls, and long distance photos that are going to show up in this level though. First off, we have these Dittos. They were pretending to be Bulbasaurs. We've got a photo trigger here on the Grimer to make this Grimer down here show up at all. And we'll hit him with 3 Pester Balls and he'll turn into a Muck. Because this is how evolution works. If you needed more points, which we don't really, you could turn those Bulbasaurs into Dittos. But We don't. Okay, here comes a tough little spot. We have to worry about Jigglypuffs and Coughings. And we don't really want to look at them because that's slow. But we definitely do not want to mess this up because that's even slower. Good throw. Good stuff. Okay, and he hits the snipe on the Weeping Bell too. Weeping Bell is going to evolve similar to what we saw with the Muck, and we're going to snap that. Because we didn't get the Cloister, typically this would be the moment that you would exit the level. We need to go a bit deeper, unfortunately, for a different unique Pokemon. There is a Zubat here and a Pikachu, but we already have seen Zubat in the level, like the power plant level tunnel, and we saw Pikachu at the very beginning of the game, so they're not unique. What that picture was, that he took there at the very end, is going to be considered a picture of Jynx. For these menuing, he did just make a small little blunder, but he made two little blunders. The way that they're going to work are very much like memorized. You just know, okay, I need to go right here, down here, right here. But because we took some extra photos, I think that might have been what threw him off there. 170 points for the Jynx, but the points don't matter. It's just that it's considered a Jynx. It's similar to what we saw with the Kangaskhan photo at the very beginning of the game. We're not here for the points. We're just here for the glory. This is going to be perhaps the most boring level. We did take a picture of those Dugtrio mountains, or mountains that look like Dugtrio, and because aKaFuKu is really good at the game, he doesn't need to take any photos. At this point, we are confident on the number of points that we have. That's a little pause there. Not sure what for. This is, I mean, we made it here. That's really the big thing. And because we made it here with enough points, all we need to do is get to the end of the level and then escape this level with a nice little combination that I'm sure aKaFuKu has done hundreds, if not thousands of times. Not sure what they're talking about, but what I'm going to talk about is more lag stuff. I mean, we're looking at this guy here. I think at this moment we're passing like near the waterfall where Gyarados hides. If you are trying to take pictures of Gyarados, it lags the system tremendously. Just there's all these like water particles, I believe is the reasoning, as he pops out of the waterfall. Really cool interaction, but really miserable. The N64 that it is able to work and play Pokemon Snap is a miracle in itself. This game is a lot stress on the system, and it's also a reason why I think this game is a particularly short game. With the speed run here being 27 minutes as the estimate, we've seen runs go about 21 minutes and less for the top runners such as aKaFuKu. The Switch, which has the new Pokemon Snap, that run takes about 2 hours 30. So when you have a system that's actually able to handle a game of this sort of beauty, the runs do get a lot longer. I think the only reason this game is so short is just system limitations, and perhaps the reason why they didn't make one for another 20 years. Okay, here we go. We gotta hit the Squirtle, so it hits the Mankey. 3, 2, 1, go. Good bowling. This is the even harder trick. This is less intended. He's gonna throw orbs over the rock, blind shot, and there we go. He hits the Mankey. He threw 7 orbs in an apple, and he hit the Mankey onto a button, which opens this door, which lets us get to a scene where we can mash really quickly and talk to Professor Oak, and he might say wonderful, which is my favorite part about this game, if you don't include all of the, like taking photos and having fun. We only have one photo take. It's of this Dugtrio, and this will start what is kind of like the second phase of this game. We're going to go visit through all the levels, and we are going to do it with this turbo feature that allows us to go fast. What we need to do is take photos on each of the levels. We've just done Valley, but the other 5 levels of I'm going to call it a monument. I can't remember the word that the community uses. That looks like a Pokémon. Here we're doing cave. I think we're just because it goes up from the menu. And these stars, I promise you, look like Mewtwo. There's no Mewtwo in this game, but we have a picture that looks like Mewtwo. And the professor is very impressed. That's why we do cave first. We also, by doing that, unlock the Pokeflute, which we do. No, we don't even need it. But it's good for like a few extra photos, and if you're doing like a all Pokemon run, which do also exist. Oh, yeah, we do need the flute. I'm sorry. We need the flute because we need to wake up the Vileplume that, by being woken up, does a boogie instead of sending out the spores that were otherwise blocking a Cubone photo. So there is a sequence here. We couldn't have done River before Valley. Did you miss it? Oh yeah, okay, so he meant to go to Volcano but didn't hit the up input. This throw is always stressful, but he hits it first try, coughing. Done. And when I say coughing, I mean it's smoke that vaguely looks like coughing, and he took it so quickly that it definitely doesn't look like coughing yet. Next one's gonna be the tunnel. This one's quite deep in. On that menu screen, you can see that he hit 130,000 or 131,000. Actually, this does have a trick. We need to look right there to move slightly right at the track. While this game looks like a on rails game, or you could consider it a auto scroller, moving right and left on the track is possible. It's actually super important for taking like the top photos. Photo, for example, like Squirtle, involves just dramatically trying to slow down the cart. So we have turned on the electricity by throwing an apple earlier. We learned that Magnemites like apples, but we also learned that there's a pincer here, which doesn't really feel on theme with the power plant, but I'm down for it. Let's go pincer. Okay, and now on to beach for looking up the sky. And I assume this is mostly done by sound and feel, but we're waiting just to be able to take a photo of Kingler. And when I say Kingler, I mean mossy rocks that look like Kingler. Okay. Good matching there. Okay, and now we're in the rainbow cloud in the sky. This will actually be near the end of the run because we're getting our last photos. Mew's a bit of a troll there. We missed the blind shot, but we got him there. We'll need to hit him, I believe, 6 times. But 3 times here to start. Despite the issues that we've had in this run, the Doug Trio being like the most obvious, Cloister not showing up being something that the runner has no control over, this time is still really good. It's not necessarily obvious just with the estimate. It is just, and there's a photo. Like this is just a few minutes away from his own PBs, and his own PB is very much near the world record. There's 63 Pokemon. We only need to take 41, and there's time. It's that red text that we were looking for. And now we get the really pleasant credits here, where you get to see all your photos that you took. And since he was going through them really quickly, we can actually really appreciate some of them. Really good stuff there from aKaFuKu. Just dealing with trying to play this game in like a race setting or a marathon setting is super stressful. I really love just the amount of support that you can see even just behind him with all the the stuffed Kakunas and Mews and Eevees. But all those Pokemon are in this game, actually. And, yeah, just really a nice little run. Especially after like a 10-hour Final Fantasy run, it's just a nice little treat here. I do believe next is going to be Mother 2 all photos. If you're here less for the Pokemon and more for the photography, we've got you. It's all photos. I know Mother isn't necessarily the like a popular game in America for speedrun just because we didn't have it for so long, unlike say Pokemon Snap, which was just part of my childhood and of many's childhoods. But I'm not 100% sure if we're getting an English restream on that. We will see, but either way, thank you for joining me here. My name is PoNoob. This has been my second chance here to commentate over. I did Mario Party earlier, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me here, RTA, and allowing us to do the English restream. It's always good fun. With that, I'm signing out. Take care.